Go.
Awesome. Welcome everyone to the Corporation of the Township of Von Shire Valley Committee meeting. It is Tuesday, October 15th, 2024. It's 1:30 p.m. and we are meeting in council. I am calling this meeting to order. Are there any additions to the agenda? I see none. I have one. We've been asked by Amiston Bromley to provide a letter of support. Time was of the essence. I know that Annette sent it to everybody, so I'm adding that to correspondence.
Number 8,
No, B,
because okay,
B14. So at this time, I will ask for an adoption of the agenda as amended, please. Moved by Tracy, all in favor? Perfect, that carries. Is there any pecuniary interest for the general nature thereof? I see none. Could I get an approval of the minutes that were circulated for our committee meeting of October 2nd, 2024, please? Moved by Brent. Were there any errors or omissions? I see none. All in favor? We have no delegations this afternoon, so we're going to move right into reports. I understand that Kevin McGrath will not be joining us, so Annette will be fielding any questions, comments, etc.
Yeah, the report is there for your information. Talks about, obviously, the ice is in, minor hockey, different things that are going on with the bookings of the Eagles Nest, and basically the winterizing and closing of the washrooms and the parks. The veterans banners are going up today. If you were around
They look
town, you would
great.
see them to help with Hydro One, so thank you very much to them. And the last farmers market was held on Friday, so that's also ending, and there's a couple of pictures there of people playing pickleball on the outdoor rink, which
It was
was great.
awesome.
So that's all I really wanted to highlight on the report, but if there's questions or anything you want me to take back to Kevin, I will do so, and then I will send out an email to all the council and let you know the answers.
I actually have a few things. If nobody else has anything, you guys go first. So the first thing is, weirdly, before I even read this, at our youth summit on Friday, we were sitting outside of the arena having lunch, and we were talking to the kids about purposeful graffitiing of that building. I'm just wondering if that's something that we think of for next spring. Do you think that it would stop the unpurposeful graffiti? I'm not sure, but the kids certainly like the idea. So that's just one. I was asked by the Eganville Area Community Development Group that our crew take care of the parks or the trees at McCray Park, which are now encroaching on the view of the river. The weeds at the fishing dock, because they're getting a little too much for our volunteers. And there's been repeated asks for a play structure at Legion Field beside the splash pad. So this is something that potentially we could partner with EACVG and Rotary on. So what we need to know from Kevin is what's the timeline to get one of these play structures, because we know the last one we got took, I don't know, 18 months, 2 years. So we need to know all those things, but I think it's definitely something that people want. Legion Field is being used a lot more. And again, the kids at the youth summit talked about the canteen. They had a lot to say about snacks. So just something for us to keep in mind. All right, if there's nothing.
Can I just
further-
comment on the
Yeah.
graffiti? This is something that I've talked about with the artist group that did the murals in town about called purposeful graffiti, but getting in some sort of maybe the material that Laurel works with, and it could be local artists led.
Oh, I was thinking of kids.
Yeah, no, for kids,
Oh,
but guided by a local artist.
oh, I see. As a mentor.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Didn't the play structure at Plymouth take us 2 years or something of that nature?
yeah, that's why I'm worried.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if supply chain is better now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm fingers crossed, right? But I mean, if that park is being used heavily for soccer, for baseball, for splash pad, now pickleball is being played apparently everywhere. I know that's Centennial, but it's also being played on the tennis courts. If it's being used heavily, then it makes sense to have a play structure there and have the canteen open to whatever group wants to do it. Anyway, food for thought.
Mhm.
Our budget is going to be very tight next year, guys, because our OPP billing went from 750,000 to 904,000.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so what was it, Sandra, a 22.3% increase?
22.875.
So it's gonna be a tough budget, so.
Why is that? Why?
Contract negotiations. It's the same all over Ontario. We're not
I'm just
alone.
curious why.
So it's a heavy, in fact, in any term here, I've never seen that kind of
Yeah,
increase.
it's a lot.
Yeah,
Just like the
So-
transportation,
pardon me.
just like transportation, the busing.
Yeah, so we're be cognizant of that going into the 2025 year. Because we know we don't want to reduce services, but that alone will be 4% on our tax rate. So,
Can I ask a quick question? Have we ever had police services come in and give an update to council for listeners to? Just because I asked because I was recently talking to a police officer about the opioid epidemic in the area, kind of what's happening.
so yes, when we had police services meetings, yes, we did.
But here, I know for time
Yes.
I've been on, okay,
Mm.
I haven't,
But we haven't had a police services board
Okay.
meeting since prior to COVID, correct?
okay.
Sandra?
Yes, we have.
Oh, you have
Yeah,
with Dizzy?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
I think our last one might have been in January of
Oh.
this year.
so we didn't have a representative.
No, where was going?
Oh, Merv went,
Yeah, we had an
Oh.
update on the agenda.
okay.
But
I
we-
think
we-
what Tracy's saying is, does the staff sergeant ever come here?
Yeah, someone to give an
Yeah.
update to council in the
Once
community.
every,
what's
what, 3
happening.
months, 4 months?
I was gonna say the same thing.
Yeah. But we
Um,
don't get into dollars and cents, we just got
No,
in.
no, no, just coming off the heels of AMO and listening to what's happening with the opioid crisis and, knowing that things are bad everywhere,
We
right?
might be-
Homelessness. I'm just interested because I think the community would be interested.
why don't I have our MESA coordinator come instead?
Yeah, anybody. It's not, and just
That makes far more sense.
overall, what's going on here.
Cause I believe Steph does sit on the MESA table,
Yeah.
but he's,
I think it'd be interesting I'm sure to this group, but to the community at large.
Just a little insight into how statistics work. If the OPP stops someone on 41 or 62 highway and charges them with impaired going through Eganville, it goes on the provincial record. If it
Okay.
takes the same driver and charges them on a side street, that then shows on Boulder Valley's record. But the two highways coming through, if they're stopped on a provincial highway, it goes against
Oh.
provincial records. And maybe it's just,
Yeah, I was thinking like homelessness, drug use, overdose,
that's
all of
a
it.
county initiative that we're working on now.
No, I know, I'm just looking for an update.
Yeah.
From whomever the right person is.
Well, I can bring an update, but I think it'd be
Yeah.
better to have somebody from our
Yeah.
MESA table come.
Yeah, I think that'd be great.
And it is a provincial responsibility
Yeah,
that
no, I
we're
know.
taking on, which is not necessarily good because we keep taking on more and more provincial responsibilities.
Yeah, I'm just more interested in the harm to the community and just what's happening here.
Okay, Sandra, your financial report, please. I swore you were gonna do it from back there.
Oh, I could.
No?
So the October 11th provisional budget report was in your package as well as the balance sheet for the end of September. So if you browse through it, you can see there are a few accounts that are either at or slightly over budget now, but there are a few accounts as well that are still under budget. So things are still looking good for the finances. It's just certain places, like there was a couple areas in waste that have overrun a bit.
We do our best with these budgets, but we can't be perfect.
No, I wish it could be, but.
I know.
Yes, and did anybody have any questions on that? Okay, I did a small supplementary tax batch for $437. Have one more to go. And I did calculate a batch of write-offs, totaling just over $4,257 that affected 11 properties. That was new changes that came down from the province to do with pits and quarries. They gave them a 95% reduction on the education portion of their taxes. Just because, and then they're making a new tax class for them next year because they just wanted to keep it fairer. So we did receive notice that our OCIF funding is down by 15%. So it's down $86,000 from this year to next year. So next year, we're only gonna get $490,000. And then as Jen mentioned, we also received bad news about our OPP billing. 20% is the average increase for everyone across Renfrew County as well, and some other outlying municipalities were even up as far as 30%. And then I attended a few meetings. One on Employment Standards Act, and I went to the Renfrew County Clerks and Treasurers meeting in Renfrew.
Nice. Any questions for Sandra? I
Thank
see
you.
none. Thank you, Sandra. Right, Annette, take it away.
Okay, so I also attended a few meetings, so I put them in there for the MFOA conference, which, the Finance Officers Association. Very interesting information on, I really liked the one on contractual risk transfer and, certain paragraphs, certain wording, you know, what's the difference between, hold harmless and what's the difference between an added insurer and that kind of thing. So that was very good, and software as well. Mostly centered on Microsoft 365, and it probably has, I'm gonna say 60 applications in it, and if we use 10, that would be stretching it. So we pay for all of those uses and trying to learn more software programs that we can use with the Microsoft 365 to continue to automate processes and move forward. So that was very good, and I presented a session on everyday ethics. And then the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing Clerks Forum was in Napanee, and really talked a lot about conflict of interest, which was very interesting as well, because there was a specific clause that apparently has only been used twice in the history of the province of Ontario, both times with Laurentian Hills, our partners up the valley. So that was quite interesting. They're a very small community, and a lot of them are connected to CNL up there. And so they had to go to the court and get an order that if any of these 18 items were to come to council, they were all allowed to vote on them because everyone had a conflict of interest. So no one could vote on
Right.
those items. And so,
That's great.
yeah, and then, you know,
That
yeah.
makes perfect
Right?
sense. So you'd have a spouse that works at CNL.
Yes,
Yes.
yeah, so
Oh.
it's very specific on these 18 items, and then I guess the election happened, they were all acclaimed, they didn't actually have an election this time. But you could only be exempted for a term, so they had to go back to court again a second time to have the court order redone for the next one, which is quite costly, actually. So, just an interesting factor that I'd never really heard before. It was similar to one up north that, they actually did have a tie in election and they actually had to do a quarter toss. So there's some neat things in the legislation that you never see. So just.
I don't think I'd want to win or lose like that.
No, but that's what the rule, that's what, right in the act, that's what they tell you to do. So very, very interesting. And I did, and then I did a presentation on social media, and we also had quite the conversation of all of the different methods should a seat become vacant on council. So different ways, either whether it's a by-election, whether it's an appointment, whether you go ahead and appoint the next person with the most votes, but you don't have to do that. So it was quite interesting what different people chose to do. And some municipalities put it right in their bylaw and said, this is how we will handle it. And then when the time came, they amended their bylaw, suspended the rules, and did something different. So we don't have anything that tells us exactly what we will do. We could go back to the Elections Act and decide at that time which process we'd like to follow. But we could have it where it says what we would like to do. But as you can see, it doesn't always work out perfectly.
I also feel like it depends on at what time during the term.
It depends on what time during the term exactly. So in this case, I think that's why they didn't do what they said they were going to do, because there happened to be a member who had previously been on council, had all the training, didn't run again. But when they looked at, I think they said, we'll go ahead and appoint the next person with the most amount of votes, but that person had no council experience and council was already 2.5 years in.
Yeah.
And so instead they appointed the previous member because it just would save on training and they would be able to get caught up faster. So, they suspended their rules and changed their mind, but it was an interesting discussion. And as Sandra was stating, we were at the Renfrew County Clerks and Treasurers Association meeting. It was at Bontra Manor. So we did a tour there of their butterfly model, which has really come together and it's quite amazing. And then tomorrow I'm off to Algonquin College. We're having a municipal career fair from 11 to 1 across the county. So we've got all different positions coming out to talk to the students there. So I think that's going to be successful as well. And just working on some programming for summer students and training and just really trying to get people interested in municipal government because of all the turnovers.
I just want to make sure everyone knows what the butterfly model is.
Oh, sure.
So when I was the warden, I believe it was in 2018, might have been 2019. We took a bus trip to Malton, to a long-term care home that had employed this very innovative model where the long-term care home doesn't look like a long-term care home. It is decorated as a home. They cook like things like they right in the like in a proper kitchen in the home, not in the formal kitchen. They have children's dolls and teddy bears and things that people would have had in their homes as they grew older. And so when we were there, it was one of the most amazing things I think I'd ever seen. And so we came back and we decided that we were going to implement this at the Manor and the Lodge, and then COVID hit. So it is just now being finished, but I can bring photos if you'd like of what the homes look like. Punisher Manor looks amazing.
That'd be nice. I'd like to see it.
So
Yeah.
it's such a great initiative where it's the sounds and smells that you would have in a home. You know, you get used to even your furnace coming on or your fridge coming on.
Any pets?
What's that?
Any pets?
Yes, they actually, that day, they did have,
They have pets?
they had people visiting, yes, with
Yeah.
dogs, yeah, family members and stuff.
Put a
visiting
nice kitty
residents
litter
with
in your
dogs.
bedroom there. Sure.
Well, I'm just thinking replacement, but hey.
But no, they can't do
I know,
that,
I
but yeah, it's quite something, and yes, I will pull up some photos of it to show you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you couldn't describe it. They have a workshop there with tools and stuff, and they have like a hunting cabin there.
Mhm.
And they have,
Nice.
clotheslines and clothes and gardening.
Yes.
And laundry to always be folded, so there's stuff to do, living with purpose, a can crusher, like they've just. And the doors are painted, so if you bring in a picture of what your door looked like at your house, they'll paint the door to look like that door. So it really feels like
That's
home.
really
So
nice.
there was some very beautiful, and then the pavement outside in the garden area is rubber. So that if you fell, like you're probably not, you might get injured, but you're not gonna break something. So it was quite, it was beautiful, really nice.
It really is.
Yeah, kudos to the county for that.
Well, we stole it.
Well, but that's a lot of work to implement it,
It's
so.
not always original ideas everywhere. There's a lot of,
Yeah.
augmenting.
So the official renaming of Centennial Park, that resolution is coming back to council this evening. The agreement for the Rural Transit Solution Fund is attached to tonight's agenda by bylaw as well. The Snowdrifters Club, so we had discussed the agreement that they had sent. I sent them a copy of what I was sending to council, and then I guess it finally went through the chain up top, and they came back and they had some issues with one of the clauses. So I amended it, talked to our insurance again. And so it's back on there today, just to make sure we're still fine with it. If we are, then I'll bring it back by bylaw at the November 5th meeting. I don't think the trails will be ready to go before then, so I think we have time for that. So it's a little bit of a weaker clause, but either way, if we don't sign it, we're right now, any of the unopened road allowances that they cross are not really part of our agreement, so we're liable anyway. So at least if we have this, we're covered under their liability that much more. It's a little softer language than proposed, but it's still more than what they originally offered, and more than what we have now. The crossing agreement as well, I don't know if you remember, Kavanaugh Construction came in like a while ago. I would say 2 years ago, maybe it's not quite that long, but it feels like it probably was, because they were here. And I think it was right when Dave was retiring, so I think it's been quite a bit when Marco was here, so.
Yeah,
Anyway, they've gone through all of their planning and their development and all of the things that they had to do, and so now they've come back with this crossing agreement, which has been reviewed by our solicitor, has been reviewed by Jason. And so it's received approval from those two parties, so I'm very comfortable with it. But if you have any comments, let me know. If not, if it's good to go, then again, I'll bring it back November 5th for the be formally approved by the bylaw.
What's the term on that agreement with the OFSC or the snowmobile clubs?
5 years. So 2028. I guess that would be 2029. I think it is till 2029.
It's
Maybe it's 4
29.
years. Is it 29?
Yeah.
I'll have to go back and look at it.
I think it is 5 years.
Okay, good. So also, in your packages, you'll see the snow clearing for the village. So there was an increase. There was no increase last year because 2 years ago, we asked if we could extend it over a 2-year time period to sort of keep the rate, which is what was done last year. So there was no increase last year, but the increase is 11%, so 5.5 over the last 2 years, because the prices has remained the same up until then. Jason did contact a couple others. Everyone's very busy and they don't have time for it. So it would have to be approved as a sole source for November 5th, but I would bring that back at that point to be approved to be as a sole source and for the amount. So it's there for your considerations. If you have any questions or any thoughts on that, I'm here.
No, that's- So when you say for the village, you mean Bon Shore Valley owned properties that need snow removal?
Oh, yes.
That's,
Yes,
okay.
yeah,
Oh,
for the
yeah.
township, but yes,
That's okay.
within the village limits, because moving snow around here is a much bigger deal than in our rural areas where, yes, we do plow the snow, but we have more spots to put it out there. In the village, it's a bit.
You can't wing it in the ditch.
No,
No.
you can't.
no, you can't.
I have no problem with it, that.
Yeah.
It's straightforward.
The next thing is, so Lake Clear, so we had the presentation with the planning report, and everything that came forward through our consultants and all of the comments that were received, so just looking for direction, from council. If we want to proceed, then what I would do is do some investigation, which would be too difficult. The official plan applications amendments are right on there. Kind of go through them and see what had to be filled out, and that would sort of be step one, which is more of a policy document, so it's not going to get into you know, how many, how long, dates, that it's just going to be a policy document that kind of says, we're going to permit this. Now it may say, we're going to permit this so long as a licensing bylaw is also passed. It could say something like that, because that's still policy, but it's not going to get into the nitty gritty. So and we'd still have to have a public meeting before we had it passed, and it's really if the county, so we'll be applying to the county. So the county would hold the meetings, do the procedures, take any appeals. It wouldn't come through us. That would be the zoning bylaw, which we can't even think about changing before the OP. So looking for direction from council, is this something you would like me to start working on shortly? Is it something you want me to add to my January 1st, 2025, you know, work plan? Because it will take an official plan amendment, you know, depending on timing, 3 to 6 months.
Oh, go ahead, John.
I was gonna say, so there's no required time frame that we have to renew the official plan. It'll get done when we get it done. And you
Right.
don't wanna leave it more than a year, because then you're into an election cycle and then you're maybe creating jobs
Agreed.
for new people. So
Agreed.
it would be good, maybe we could talk about it, or we could have a learning session about the official plan, or at least distribute it for us to read and then go from there. It's always good to review it.
Well, it's not our official plan.
Okay,
I mean, it is, but
it's ours
it's
approved
the
by
county.
the county.
No, it's the county official plan. We have a zoning bylaw.
Okay.
The official plan can be found on the County of Renfrew website.
Okay,
I can send you the link, John.
Yeah,
thanks.
Send that to me too. Bennett,
so
please.
here is my challenge with the timing and why I think we should wait till January. If the county calls a public meeting, I want to make sure that it isn't going to be, you know, January 31st or during merge break, right? The county's going to have to realize that the public meeting has to be when the majority of cottagers or seasonal residents are here. It can't, like, we can't limit, because we'll just have what we had the last time, where our timeline or our deadline wasn't good enough, so we extended it to June. So I would say that this is a 2025 venture, unless you want to get started on it now, if you see any hiccups.
Can we just back up for 1 sec so I understand? So if in order to, we're going to proceed, if we're proceeding with the official plan, we need an agreement, what it is we're agreeing to based on the consultant's recommendations.
Yes,
Correct. So this is the assumption then that we are agreeing to whatever the number of RVs is. I think
No.
that's the final, is that, just so
No.
that's why I want to understand exactly
Sorry,
what we're
sorry.
doing here.
That's what I meant when I said it's a policy document.
Mhm.
So the official plan says, you can have farm use on your property.
Yeah.
That's all it says.
Yeah.
The zoning bylaw has to, conform to the official plan,
Yeah.
so we can't have a
Understand
zoning
that.
bylaw that goes against the official plan. But our zoning bylaw would say, for farm use, you have to, the setbacks have to be this.
Yeah.
You have to keep them in a building. You can only have 4 of these or 5 of these, or you can only keep this depending on, the MDS formula, which is a whole formula for manure and waste and that kind of stuff. So it's going to get into a much deeper dive, like how many RVs, what are the seasons, whatever. But that is going to be a whole nother set of discussions. So the official plan is just going to say,
We are changing our zoning bylaw, is that what we're?
Nope, it's
Not
going-
yet, okay.
we
it'll
don't-
say that recreational vehicles are allowed on an ag capacity lake.
they are, yes, they are.
Which is
They are-
currently not, correct?
Exactly,
Right.
right now they are in contravention of our
Yes.
official plan.
I understood that, but I wasn't
They're
sure
allowed to
of
be
the detail of the
stored, but they're
plan.
not allowed to be used as accommodation.
Yes.
So the actual clause that's going to change is going to say, these can be used
can
as
use them, okay.
accommodation on a Lake Clear as an act capacity lake. That's all it's gonna say. Now, it could say, so long as they are licensed in accordance with the Township of Boulder Valley's license. So it could say that.
Mhm.
And then, but that's not going to be the licensing bylaw. The licensing bylaw would come forward. And if there are properties that are exempt from the licensing bylaw, that would be, they'd still be in compliance with it, just because they don't have a license. The licensing bylaw will dictate that. The zoning bylaw will dictate seasons, how many setbacks, that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. So if the official plan passes at the county, they'll have a public meeting, county will have a public meeting, people will be able to comment on it.
Mhm.
And then if it passes, there's 20-day appeal periods for those that commented. If you didn't comment, you can't appeal. But if you commented, then you could appeal it to the Ontario Land Tribunal. Is it Land Tribunal now? What's it called? I think it's still the OLT, the Ontario Land Tribunal. They've changed the name. I'm positive, it's still.
It is OLT,
So
yes.
it's gonna go, you could appeal to the province.
Yeah.
And then the province would review the policy under the OP and, then they might decide to have a tribunal. They might say, the appeal that you've given us is not relevant, and they could throw it out too. So they'll decide what to do there. If that happens, that could be a year. So we could get through the OP, get it approved in 3 to 6 months. It gets appealed. Now it's a year later before we get a decision. It could happen right away. The OLT could throw it out and adopt it, or it could go to tribunal and then it's a year. And then if that gets approved, then it comes back to council and they say, okay, so the OP has been approved now. Now we have to open up the zoning bylaw and the licensing bylaw. And then that's gonna be a whole nother set of discussions, a whole nother set of public meetings, and a whole nother set of possible appeals.
So where does M&R fit in here? So, because I've read all the correspondence, Ministry of Natural Resources in terms of having.
You mean
that's-
Emily?
Environment, yep.
Ministry of Environment, sorry. Where do they fit into this hierarchy
They
and
don't.
puzzle? They
They
don't.
No.
So despite the letter saying they are not happy about this or want further meetings.
But they changed their minds once they met with our consultant.
Yeah, we had further meetings, so they wanted to have
Okay.
meetings on it. We said, no problem, we'll have
Okay.
meetings. So we went ahead and had those.
I was just looking at
meetings.
the puzzle pieces and
Yeah.
how this all fits
Yeah.
together.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, at this point, Annette is absolutely correct. It's, do we file an amendment request for VOP? Let that take its course.
Yeah.
And then that would be up to us then to change the zoning bylaw. But knowing that the people on Lake Clear that are vehemently opposed to the report from our experts, they are going to want summertime public meetings, or at least springtime public meetings. So thinking this through, it probably is gonna be the next term before the zoning bylaws fixed.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for.
But
right-
we'll have done important research and put building blocks in place
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Due diligence, right?
So I get what Annette is asking, getting down to the bare bones of that. What she's asking is, do we want to leave them in contravention of our zoning bylaw and the official plan? Or do we want to take steps to remedy this? I mean, I don't know really where, I know where Brent stands on it and Merv, but I don't really know where you two stand on the issue. So maybe it's not a bad moment, just like, is this something that you want to see cleaned up? Or are we gonna continue to have these fights with some of the people on Lake Clear?
John, you go ahead.
I'm just saying that it should be done so everybody could understand each step we take. I'd rather take a year, in spite of it having been many years, to do it so that it's sort of unassailable, that we've got a decision that is defensible and as fair as we can possibly make it.
And that's why we gave the deadline to June 30th.
Yeah, I agree. I would like steps to remedy it, and I think that if we are going to be stewards of our lakes, that we do what's necessary. That to take care of our lakes, right? It's our responsibility and for our future generations. So, and this has been a long-standing issue, so I don't think it's gonna go away anytime soon. And there are people in contravention of our bylaws.
Okay, so, but you've got two different issues going on there.
True, but this is one step forward if we have regulation and licensing
How do you mean?
on use of RVs.
But they said that they weren't affecting the lake even as much as potentially a cottage.
But then there's still commentary from the Ministry of Environment. Okay, maybe their agreement with the,
Yeah,
and
they-
what is that magical number? I mean, 4 RVs to me is too many. But what is the magical number that we're gonna allow?
That'll be a discussion with our zoning bylaw.
Right,
Now,
like what the consultants put forward looked pretty good to me, in my opinion.
my biggest thing are setbacks.
Yep,
And obviously there might be minor variances because some people, let's face it, just can't set back that far, but also the ribbon of life.
yeah,
And I think that's very important. So that's why I wouldn't mind seeing licenses because we can hold them in contravention. So I think that there were some good ideas in that report.
yeah,
But when we're talking about the effect on the lake, they've proven out and they've shown the MOE that the MOE, quite frankly, was incorrect. So I think that it's two different issues. The issue that we're trying to solve is that these people are in contravention of our zoning and the official plan. So we have a decision to make. Do we bring them in so that they are adhering to our bylaws, or do we not? So that's, yeah,
January, February is fine. January, February is fine with me. It's good. It's a good one to start the year fresh with anyways, and the timing ought to work out the best. But
and we're gonna be crucified anyway, to your point, around the amount of time. But if we're gonna do it, let's do it right,
yeah.
right?
I wanna go another 10
the
years with this, like.
well, the first step.
I don't care, quite frankly.
Do you permit it or not, right? That's the first thing.
Yes,
That's the
yeah.
That's
first
what
step.
that's
And
what I'm
that's
asking.
and exactly, so.
So what I'm hearing is John saying, yes, permit, but with permits.
Good point.
But Tracy's on the path down,
I'm on both, really.
Okay.
But it's my personal view on it, right? So, but I believe in licensing and regulation
okay, so, but,
and following, adhering to our bylaws.
okay, bylaws
It is important.
that's what we're dealing with here, though.
I have cruised the lake and I've seen, there are many who have done their own thing and the way they treated their properties as a cottage owner myself. I don't follow that philosophy, but
But there are cottages that don't.
no, there are many. I know, it's not just RV. I'm not just talking RVs. I'm
Yeah.
talking about in general around the lake. You
Yeah.
can see at any lake, right? So we either gonna follow our bylaws or
But I think that this lake is very specific
It is.
because when you read the OP, there's a section on Lake Clear.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
So that's the section that we'll be amending. If I get that direction from committee, I will then, in January and February is fine, put together an application by that period of time to have that section amended to permit, our visas accommodation. You know, as long as, as long as they follow the rules, that
Yeah.
I understand we will make those rules at a later date, but we have to at first agree to permit them.
you know, like a property that has 6 RVs on it, for instance. You know, if you want to be a trailer park, then apply for licensing to be a trailer park.
Is there any that have 6 on it right now?
no,
I've seen them. There was, maybe they've moved them.
okay,
I'm not,
because
I'm not worried. Any, how many complaints have we received this year? on it?
Doesn't mean anybody's complained about it, I'm just saying it's.
No, but how many complaints have we received in that?
So
that is a trailer park.
No, no.
So
it's not.
more than four RVs are permitted. But you have to be zoned tourist commercial.
That's right.
Right, so it's just, are they zoned? It's fine then, if they're zoned.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to look at the
Yeah.
property.
Depends on, yeah.
To answer your question, Brent, on how many, we have not received a complaint.
Mhm.
I have not in my time here. I can't speak to before my time here, so since January 2020.
Mhm.
We have not received any complaints about RVs on specific properties on Lake Clear. We did receive one on Constant Lake, which we addressed.
Mhm.
We have not received any about Lake Clear. Obviously, I've received comments and I've received letters on our bylaw and on enforcement. So I would say I've received complaints about enforcement, complaints about our bylaw, complaints about that, but I've yet to receive a complaint that says this property is in contravention of the bylaw and we would like you to do something about it. I have 0 for Lake Clear on that.
We're got something.
And where we've always kind of bogged down is, it's fine and dandy to have rules, but who's gonna enforce them?
Yeah,
I
That's
agree.
the problem. Who's gonna enforce them? I mean, this is where
they're for everyone, not just a few, like, you know, the rules are there for a reason.
But the other thing that spanned across several councils is that, it was about water quality, then it was about septics, and it's sort of changed, it's morphed, I think. And the biggest thing we had to put to bed was the water quality,
Yeah,
which we've done now. So I think that's a milestone despite the amount of years it's taken, right?
Mhm.
I firmly stand by the decision to spend that money, it's grant money, but to spend that grant money to prove out something that I think we all needed to know.
especially post-COVID, when we had all those floods too. You would expect the water quality, maybe my view would be different, right?
Well,
You would expect it to be worse, given the things that went into the water. And you know better than anyone.
it was so gross.
Yeah,
Like you wanted hip waders wherever you went.
yeah, exactly.
So I was amazed that there weren't as many contaminated wells as I thought there would
Yeah,
be.
no, exactly.
John,
So I'm more and more thinking about it in terms of economics, that if we have, let's just say there are 20 non-tax paying seasonal users on the lake, we still provide dump space and ambulance service and fire service and police service. And these are things that in some ways, even those owners who are perhaps bending some rules would understand that they have to pay for what they're gonna someday need.
right, so they're taxed on their land,
Yeah,
just not on the structure.
exactly.
Sorry, but that's what I'm saying, if
Yeah,
there's one cottage and say 2 RVs behind it, the
Right.
RVs aren't contributing. They may or may not be residents of Bon Cheval Valley paying taxes elsewhere, because we don't have a registration, we don't know who they are.
exactly.
But they may ask for help and we'll have to give it.
But I'm not against licensing, I never have been. I just didn't want it to get onerous. Like, I don't want it to be where people just, like the people that were building without building permits.
Yeah,
Where they say, oh, it's too hard, I'm just gonna build, right? I don't want that.
Yeah.
But I do think that there should be some sort of, hey, just so you're aware, here are the rules.
Yeah.
For your,
yeah.
right? Go ahead, Ron.
No. Honestly, I was just gonna say, I think everyone's just gotta result back. You can't force everything. You can't, end of the day, the quality on the lake is great.
Yeah,
We spent the money and it proved that it's great. It proved that maybe the focus can be that recreation vehicles, people should be able to enjoy their properties. So ever nagging on each other, in my opinion. I don't know, I think that we should be promoting the use of recreational properties, recreational use. And encouraging people to fish, enjoy friends, two people come to visit. No problem, it doesn't matter where you are. For example, it's like my mother comes and visit us in a trailer all the time. I don't think she should have to get a permit to come down if she came down 4 times a year. I think that if you're looking at spending tax dollars on enforcement or anything, look at our OPP budget. We just had a 20% increase. Well, we can't enforce anything in our area anyways. So you're looking at it, it's just like, where are we gonna spend our money? We're gonna be the ones that create bylaws and just telling people they can't enjoy their property.
23.85%. Start paying
Well,
attention to Sandra, please.
Exactly, but no, at the end of the day, it's like that everyone's gotta remember is that. Everyone pays property tax, no matter if you're paying for a lot or you're paying for anything. I think that we have lakes, Ontario is beautiful. It's proven that the lake is in great health. And in my opinion, it's just like, hey, we should be promoting the assets we have.
But this, to your exact point, this isn't for somebody like your mother.
No, it's not.
This is for an RV that's basically being used as a cottage
Yeah, but-
stationary.
That has a structure over it, that's permanent. You
Well,
can,
those are different,
No,
though.
it's-
Those do get, those are assessed.
No, but
The ones
the,
with porches and
Yeah.
stuff.
but the thing is, it's no different than with John said, people that utilize, say it sat there for the whole year and they're only utilizing for a bit, the property owner's paying property tax on it. We don't need to tax people to death. Talk to anyone that's on a lake,
But it wouldn't be
property.
another tax.
it's a license.
Well, no, like John, on your comments there, you're saying that it's someone has 2 RVs and the property, that the people in the RVs aren't getting taxed enough. That's pretty much exactly what you just said.
No, I said, we're providing, using taxpayers' dollars, we're providing services to them, important services that we cannot refuse. And if they are not tax paying elsewhere in the county, that may be a burden on our taxpayers, that's what I said.
Go ahead, Murph.
You mentioned something about, I have my trailer there, I've got the wheels off, the hitch off and the deck on it. And you should be paying taxes. But talking to the county, they said it's so small, we don't even bother.
MPAC assesses them. If they are stationary and there's a deck, they pay property tax. Not only on the land, but the structure.
I didn't know that.
Yes,
First to admit.
Yeah.
I don't know that.
they are assessed.
Okay.
I don't think that they'd be assessed for very much, but they are. If they have like all the accoutrement.
Yep.
Right?
We discussed that in the last term, was at what point does it become the structure, right?
Right.
That was one of the biggest
Yeah.
things, and that's what our previous council was in full agreement on, is that, and that was the one bylaw we had tried to pass, was that what actually dictates it being a structure or not,
Exactly.
right? And that's something we're gonna figure out next year, after we're done through the first process and figure out what that is,
Yeah.
what that entails.
And I've let this go way too long. I'm sorry. This was
Yeah.
not
But I think
supposed to
it's
be a
important to
debate.
talk about.
The direction is yes, and then I think January, February.
January, February,
Yeah.
go ahead with the OP
Yeah.
application. That's what I got in.
Okay, perfect.
John and I
We'll
are
be doing
new,
a
we
lot
always
more-
haven't had the benefit of complete
No,
this
absolutely.
conversation, so this is why we ask maybe a few more questions.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
But
just for clarification.
yeah, and knowing the process
We're not
is
new
very.
anymore, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, you gotta stop calling yourself
I
new.
know, it's like saying I'm young.
I'm just saying that.
There'd be a lot,
Two
Checklist.
years in.
Read the official plan, my next job.
Yeah, you
Yes.
don't have to read the whole thing. Read the like clear section.
Okay.
Well, and but that just got updated, I thought, that was 2 years ago, did the
Yeah.
wording in it not change? For
The
Lake-
OP
Lake-
was
Lake
up,
Clear specifically on,
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
that's what I thought,
during our zoning.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
there'll be lots more discussion before this is.
Oh, I was gonna say,
No, it's helpful.
okay, thank you.
I just think the most important message here is that we're taking lake quality off the table, except for that setback and the ribbon of life, because we put that to bed. So
But the thing is regardless on that, if Ministry of Environment, someone ever complained to them and had concerns on the lake quality, Ministry of Environment, would they not be responsible to enforce that?
yes,
Yeah, like, so for example, it's like, are we even aware of Ministry of Environment enforcing anything? Has anyone ever?
That's what I asked the last
And it's
meeting
no.
about septic tanks. I don't know if you,
No.
we remember that.
No,
but
and
I-
that's the whole
Right?
point. It's
I
like,
don't think we,
No, I was curious if they do assess the lake, and I asked how much trout is in this lake, because I don't fish, so I don't know.
yeah,
But
Fishers Canada has the netting records on that.
Yeah, like, that'd be good to know too,
But you
right?
just have to look it up.
But the whole septic issue and the springtime when.
But no, I wasn't saying anything to do with septics. I was saying recreational vehicles. If someone ever reported to the MOE, for example, of it at Green Lake, I'm not aware of anything that MOE is investigating.
Yeah,
neither am I.
So like, that's the thing, is everyone keeps putting negative on recreational vehicles. It's like, hey, these are people just trying to enjoy their properties.
But that's why I'm saying I would be more worried about 50-year-old septic tanks on the lake.
yeah, like down at Opeongo Mountain Resort, that whole strip there that gets flooded, right? Isn't
Yeah.
that the area that's high in the spring, the water? Those
Yeah, but their
cottages?
wells are their wells and septics are on the other side of the road.
Yeah.
Are they? What is the
Yeah, we have
area?
massive.
Question. There's an area in Lake Clear, like at Golden Lake too, that gets flooded every year. Is a particular point in Lake Clear, isn't there a particular spot that
In
there's?
Lake Clear, I don't think so.
Oh, I thought there was, okay. I know in Golden Lake there is.
I mean, when they have
Yeah.
beaver dams on Little Lake Clear, it backs
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think so, only because the roads, like it's the shoreline.
Yeah,
and
maybe
the
it may
road.
not be there. it could be
But
further
you-
down.
Yeah, like there are some cottages on the shoreline road
Yeah.
routes that are closer,
Who probably get hit
but,
quite a bit.
But in 2017, Lake Clear had nothing on Golden Lake. That
No, I
was a
bet.
Disaster.
I was one of the only properties that didn't get hit.
Yeah, that was
My neighbors got flooded, not me.
that was a true disaster.
Yeah, I
It was
know.
awful.
Mhm.
Anyway, sorry, go ahead, Net. Christmas hours,
yes, so,
they're good.
yes, any questions or any comments, any concerns about the Christmas hours? I know Jason will bring forward the,
It's a
list.
it's a weird Christmas being
It
on
is
a
a weird
Wednesday,
one,
so I
yes.
know I just went through this with our company and that's
Yeah.
perfect.
Same with us.
Okay,
We're like, do we bring them in?
It's a Wednesday,
Yeah, it's
and
been,
then January, the first is on the next Wednesday, but no,
Yeah.
I have no issues with it, it makes sense.
okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
thank you,
I
yeah.
can't
no,
believe
we-
we're talking Christmas already.
We had some discussions about it, we can always, if it's a payroll day, we can always do it the Friday before. We had discussions about end of the year payments, when the water billing and stuff goes out the first of the year. It's nice to have all those payments in earlier. So anyway, this is what we came up with. So that's great. Thank you. So we have Jason's report, so that is good to go. So Sarah's report. We did have 12 youth registered. We did end up only having
I have this in my
a
report,
few coming forward, so I'll let the mayor talk more
because
about
I've
it.
got thank yous.
But it was a great day. Sarah's putting together collecting all the information that we gained. And I'm hoping to send it out as a survey to the schools, because we didn't have as many kids as I hoped.
Which is
But
what we talked
I'm
about,
hoping
It
right?
was amazing.
I'm hoping
That's
that
good. You need, that always happens.
It was amazing, guys.
It always happens
good.
though.
I'll
You
talk about it
start with
Monday.
one,
It
yeah.
was
Yeah,
amazing.
super engaged, so I'm just, what I wanna do is take all of that information and kind of spread it out to the other youth and say, okay, so what do you think of these ideas? To sort of get some kind of consensus on the greater scheme of things, of what we can do for our youth, but it was a great day.
I think honestly, Fi's a fantastic turnout, just because like you look at our actual proximity area of like our
Mhm.
schools and stuff like that, it's actually a pretty high percentage.
Well, it was funny because there were two girls and 3 boys.
Yeah.
Yay.
So one of the boys became the mayor, and then
Cute.
another boy became the deputy mayor, and then I'll tell you about it. Guys, it was
No, it's.
a
great turn.
mind-blowing day.
It'll be a mayor's report we want to hear.
Yeah, you always want to hear it.
And the career expo, so Sarah's still working towards that, going forward in 2025. She did go ahead and submit our Taste of the Valley application. The fireworks, so I do need
Okay.
some direction on the fireworks. Because one, if we're going to have them, we need to order them soon, because they're booking, they're running out of bookings. For July 1st, so obviously popular day to have them. And then, in discussions with the mayor, looking at whether or not we want to order fireworks or we want to have a drone display. So, just looking for some direction from council on fireworks over drones, and we can wait till the mayor's report if you want, and
No,
how much.
I can speak to it now.
Budget, okay.
So. We hear every year. People don't like fireworks, they're bad for the environment, animals hate them, we get the same complaints
Our bets.
from the same people every year. They're valid. Drones, I looked into and I'm gonna say 2018, I don't know, it was pre-COVID. It was $30,000 for a 10-minute show. So I thought, well, there's no way we can ever afford that. At that time, we were using our fire department, so we were only spending about $4,000. Anyway, in a weird twist, one of my friends said, have you watched America's Got Talent? And I said, no. And she said, well, you have to, because you should see this drone show. So I watched it and I was like, that's bloody incredible. But they had thousands of drones, right? For America's Got Talent. In any case, and then, so I reached out to this place in Belleville and they sent me this estimate. And I gave them the parameters, like our fireworks are usually 20 minutes, blah, blah, blah. Their shows are 12 minutes because of the batteries. So they don't have a choice. They can't, sure, we'll put on a 30-minute show for you. In any case, they got back to me right away and these were the options. So I said to Annette, if we had neighboring partners that would contribute, I don't see that 50 drones would be enough to make a show, but I could be wrong. So I was looking at the 100 drones for 25,000. So if we had 10,000 to kick in and then we got partners to kick in. The problem is that I know that one probably will not, and I haven't reached out to anybody else because now I fear that we're into that time frame where we might lose our fireworks company if we don't act now. Do we take the chance and reach out to our neighbors about $25 to contribute to drones? I don't know. I'm leaving it up to you guys. I don't know what to do.
I'm good with the traditional fireworks display. myself.
Okay, Murph,
Yeah. And traditional fireworks.
really
But
want.
of course, the same lament is probably ever done, well, it was too short, but I mean, like, how much are you gonna pay?
Oh, the drone show is gonna be half the time of the fireworks. It's literally 12 minutes. That's what their batteries last.
Well, if we get another municipality, then they can.
I'm
then
just
we have
talking about
more
fireworks. and
fireworks.
Yeah,
Drone is not, yeah, you know, like you can't,
what do you,
I advocate for drones because I'm also, there's many in the community, huge, our vets have, many have PTSD over fireworks, our wildlife, our animals. I mean, I'm opposed to fireworks. I think that there's other ways of doing things, but not just about the fireworks or the drones. Maybe it's looking at the event differently and other things we can add to the event. It's about the experience and it's not just the fireworks. The fireworks are a huge part of it, but there's other things happening that day that
Yeah, but
families come out and enjoy.
at night, I think they come out.
I know,
for
but
fire.
I would like to see if a neighboring municipality could chip in and we do something different. Because, you know, I'm very active on the local sites and reading comments and the property owners who are affected across the river from this, it's pretty bad.
Yeah,
It is bad.
what do you
So-
think, John?
I'm not a big fan of fireworks, not on for any of the necessarily the reasons you stated. And I know that if we go with drones with the bigger price tag, the same people that are kind of complain about the other things, the things you mentioned, the noise, and will complain about them anyway, because that's they're not keen on a nighttime event that draws people together. So I think it'd be nice to try and think of other events that could be done that would draw the community together. We're lucky we have that river that people can see something central from a long way, you know. But
Okay, well, I will tell you, the kids, I put it out to the kids. And I said, do you want a drone show? And they said, yes. I said, do you want fireworks? They said, yes. I said, well, you can't have both.
Of course they did, right?
A couple of them wanted
They wanna have fun.
fireworks, a couple of them wanted drones.
Did you ask them
One-
about the gaming truck? Did they like that?
I
Right?
don't think they were,
No, I know, I'm just saying, there's things that they can be amazed by.
look, people are going to expect fireworks, period, full stop. So it's fireworks or drones, I think. If we did drones on our own because we're late to the party, we're looking at the 50 drones for 15,000. Which,
So we're
I
looking
think
at
you need to
5,000.
plan for 2026 if you're gonna talk about
that's
working
exactly,
with another community. So,
that was gonna be my compromise. Do we let Sarah go ahead with pyrotechnics this year? And then we ask some of our neighbors if they'd like to contribute, because there's never been a drone show in Renfrew County. And I wouldn't mind being the first, but I think 100 is 50 is too few.
Mm.
Like the one that they did in southwestern Ontario, I'm pretty sure that was 100 drones, and it was pretty cool.
Change is hard.
I know. Change is expensive. But
Someone
I,
has to be the leader.
look, if you want to see something really spectacular, watch on YouTube, America's Got Talent. I think it's Sky. Can't think of their name. I will find you their name, but it was incredible to
It's
watch.
just like all of these immersive experiences, right? Like,
Yeah.
I looked into this with the museum fund and it is really expensive. But how cool would that be to have a smaller scale version of it outdoors?
Yeah, but I don't disagree with you. We're gonna get complaints no matter what we do. Doesn't matter. But I just think I like fireworks. I'm not married to them, but these drone shows are pretty darn awesome.
And can we fundraise towards it? Is that an option?
Yes, but we have to book now.
No, I
That's-
know, but with a plan to,
Like if it's for 2026, yes. If it's for
Okay.
2025, we can still fundraise towards it.
Yeah.
It's just, we need a decision. Like, we have to get back to somebody this week.
Yeah.
Yes, fireworks or yes, drones.
I'm good with fireworks.
I think for the 2025 year, I think we're kind of stuck.
Okay.
I don't have time to, and this means our neighbors that I ask have to go back to their councils. Which could mean by the time I get to them and then they get to their councils and they get back to me on an answer, it could be the end of November. So then we're gonna lose both
Maybe we look at drones for next year.
for the 2026 year. Yeah,
I'd like to see the drone show.
they're really cool.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so I put fireworks for 2025 and drones for 2026. And we'll put a little bit more effort into asking neighbors and seeing how big of a show we can get.
And I'm blaming myself. I should have looked into this in June because I haven't looked into it in easily 5 or 6 years. And there was a part of me that thought maybe they'd come down in price, but they haven't.
is there anything, so can I just add to this, thinking of these immersive experiences? As we go forward, technology gets cheaper, it changes. Is there anything like that that's out there that Sarah could look into that we augment? Like a drone show? Maybe we don't need 100, maybe we need 50 with something else.
But I
I
need
don't
to,
know.
but I need to know now. if
No,
we
I don't
can-
understand that, but for 2026.
Oh, yeah. for
Like
2026,
adding,
we can
not
look
now,
at
you
all
won't, I don't think
Yeah.
you'll find it now,
No,
but
for sure.
for next year.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But you can't have anything else up in the air while the drones are up in the air.
No, I know, it's gonna be drones and then it could be something else. So it's like a
Oh, I
whole
see what you're
evening,
saying.
it's a whole evening of interaction with different things.
Sorry, I
Yeah.
wasn't picking up what you were putting down.
And with the drones, you don't have to wait till dark.
You do,
You do?
because it's a light show.
Okay.
Merv?
Yeah.
Mike Nolan has a drone big enough to take you for a ride down the river, I think. Now, that would be a sales.
Somebody asked me that. What do the kids ask? If we were putting it on?
Yeah,
And I'm like, no, we only have one drone. It wouldn't be very much fun.
Would be a good joke, though.
Yeah.
here's the drone show.
And then we put it to music. Right?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like it's such a fun day as it is, but it, just looking at adding different things to make,
But I kind of,
to make it better, or to
Yeah.
make it
Make it better.
different.
now it's gonna be in the bloody newspaper, but I really wanted it to be kind of a surprise. Like, people come out for Canada Day expecting fireworks and right? Wouldn't that be cool? If it
What
was
about
a
those
surprise?
rockets too? You ever see those people on those rockets go
Those
in
are
the air?
scary. And the water ones?
I think Merv's up for it.
All right, Nat, let's carry on to the next
Anyone?
section.
Let's go.
It
Rockets
wasn't much. Oh, yeah. E EACDG, this is in my report as well. Sarah and I just duplicate reports.
Yeah, so, there's not a whole lot on there other than, that they're looking to do another beer and wine festival, event.
June
and
7th.
Some other, fundraising activities. Oh, are you sure that's decided?
June 7th, 2025.
Good idea.
June 7th.
You have the inside scoop.
I'm chair still.
Yeah, okay.
I just need to know,
Give that away.
I don't know where it's happening or if they're gonna need a liquor license.
It's at the museum parking lot again
Same thing?
with Kruger's sparkly light, twinkly lights.
We need to maybe start the event later so we can appreciate the twinkly lights.
The
Right? There's
twinkly
two
lights
lights.
really didn't get
The
the,
twinkle.
what they deserved. in
Yeah, yeah,
appreciation.
yeah. We needed a nighttime, start late, later maybe.
Yeah.
It was a great event though.
Okay. And then the rest are just some funding applications that we've put forward, some we've received, some we haven't heard back from yet. So always looking for funding opportunities, and there's still more ongoing this week. There's a lot due this week and next week, so that's pretty busy. The planning and licensing report, so you can see the various planning inquiries, and Thane was in again in October, and she's back November 5th and December 3rd. It's been great having her, and actually we had Nicole Moore here as well. And so it's great having them come out and be available to the public and to staff. Lottery licenses, marriage license, transient trade-ins are all there. The next question that I do need confirmation on is our emergency management. So Erica, our CEMC, has scheduled our yearly exercise for Tuesday, November 19th, prior to our council meeting. So it would be at 9:30 a.m. at the Eagle's Nest over by the arena, and then we would sort of transition from our exercise into council that day.
What was that date again?
November the 19th at 9:30 a.m. at Eagle's Nest. Does anyone have an issue with that?
I think I've written it on my calendar.
Okay, perfect.
I forgot to put it in my calendar when I read this, so I'm glad you just
Nope, that's perfect.
talked
Okay.
about it.
And that's part of our compliance and reporting with the province.
Yes.
And that is all I have.
Sorry, what's the acronym for that exercise?
Emergency management.
Emergency management exercise.
EMS.
Oh, I said CEMC, which is
Oh.
Erica's title. She is.
Oh, that's our local
Community
committee,
Emergency
yes.
Management Coordinator. Yeah.
There's gonna be a test on all these in the new year. All the initializations and acronyms.
November 19th.
9:30 in the Eagle's Nest, and then we'll provide lunch and we'll come back over for committee.
And then we'll have our EGC meeting.
Yes, our EGC meeting as well that day. Yeah, correct.
Bring a lunch.
No, we'll get one.
Provide lunch.
Oh, well, then I'll be there.
Okay, correspondence A. Nothing.
Nope.
Correspondence B. Down the list, the public sector salary disclosure. It is funny that that $100,000 hasn't been changed since 1997.
Mhm.
It's weird. Tile drain loan, that doesn't really affect us. Anything on 3, anything on 4. Anything on 5. I absolutely want to support number 6, the solve the crisis.
Yes.
Marianne Mead Ward did a spectacular job. The Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Mental Health and Addiction should absolutely be two different. If they could separate rural affairs from agriculture, they can do this.
Can I just go back up, number 3?
Sure.
I would like to advocate supporting that. It's a huge issue amongst teenagers right now. I know my kids' friends with these nicotine pouches,
Pouches.
sorry,
Yeah.
not pack. Anyway, it is an issue for
Nicotine
children.
patches are a good thing.
I know, sorry, pouches, Tracy, for children under
That's fine.
18 who are becoming addicted to this. I
Yeah.
would certainly advocate for that one.
So we can put
But that's
those
my
two
view.
on our next agenda.
Yeah.
Okay, bond tray, we do this every year. 8 rideshare services, I wouldn't mind, I don't, one way or the other, I think we should probably support it.
Yeah,
Remembrance Day is of course a
yeah,
yes.
definitely.
10. 11,
Hang on.
it's the
Lithium batteries.
importation of lithium ion batteries. I'll talk about that in my mayor's report too.
Okay,
And
12,
12, yes. Sorry, I
Yes,
forgot to write 12 down. Yes. And 13, yes.
yeah,
And 14.
And 14, yes.
A record number of As for the in correspondence file.
Pardon me?
That's a record number of supports from our council for the
Yeah,
correspondence file.
sometimes they just fall in place, John.
I'm good with it all.
Sometimes, like,
yeah. Good analogy.
you know, sometimes stuff comes out of like, the support of Solve the Crisis. That's from the big city. Marianne is the chair of the big city mayors. And she did an entire interview, which they ran on CP24. They ran basically her whole interview, which was so well thought out. She is so smart and so sassy. And she had all the arguments for it, but it was so ironic that they had just separated rural affairs from Ministry of Ag. Like maybe the week before they'd done it, so there's your leg to stand on. All right, can we take 5? Because I am gonna need some time and we do have some closed sessions. Good. Thank you.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing how much
If,
Okay, we're back on.
all right, so the crossing agreement with Kavanaugh, did anybody have anything, any other questions about that?
No.
From the MOU with snow directors? Okay. So buckle in, people. Buckle in. So, since my last report, I attended 32 meetings and several events. Some of the highlights are as follows. The county council update is actually part of your correspondence, so I won't do a whole lot of that. The two things I do want to bring your attention to are the new clinic for RCV TAC that's now running in Petawawa. And with the opening of our base, we will also have a clinic here.
That's excellent.
So that's very exciting. And the other thing I think I've spoken to before, on October 20th, our new provincial policy statement is coming into effect. And there aren't a lot of enormous things that are going to affect the county of Renfrew, but there will be some. So stay tuned. At Roma, we met on September 19th and 20th for the first time since our new AMO board rural caucus members joined. They were elected at the AMO conference. Crystal Lowry, the mayor of Mississippi Mills, is now our new chair, which is wonderful. We were pleased to welcome Rural Affairs Minister Lisa Thompson, formerly the Minister of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs. She's now just Rural Affairs. It was lovely to meet with her. And she said she shared her priorities and goals with our board, which include cellular and broadband in rural areas. And ironically, she was on her cell phone in her vehicle and she kept cutting out. But she was in Southwestern Ontario. She was not here. Because I did say that I was the chair of EORN, and then I thought, why did I say that? She's going to be hosting a rural summit to ensure perspective is heard at every table, and they're looking to modernize the RED funding, which would be very helpful, I think. In our roundtable discussion at Roma, the following items were discussed: municipalities removing barriers for cell towers and fiber to be installed, utilizing nurse practitioners in areas where it's not feasible to recruit primary care physician. John and I have spoken extensively about this, that we were not eligible for the Housing Accelerator Fund due to the lack of public transportation, separating the Ministry of Mental Health and Addictions from the Ministry of Health, supplementing our healthcare, which is in crisis, with our paramedic service. And I think those all make perfect sense to everybody sitting around the table. AMO policy advisor Spencer Sandra gave an update on energy projects across the province. It was sort of funny because our Enbridge project had just started that week. So it was ironic that he was talking about it. One of the things he was also talking about were lithium ion battery storage plants. My main concern, and I put this in my report, is that the Ontario Fire Marshal's Office does not have a solid plan for response or prevention of fires in these facilities. At this time, there is no formal hands-on training for these firefighters. It is a concern. If I showed you the map of where they're going, it is truly incredible. We are not getting any of them, so I'm kind of pleased about that. But of course, our firefighters will have to be trained in the batteries bursting into flames in vehicles or on motorcycles. At this time, what they're saying is you let it burn.
Yep.
We endorse 3 key policy priorities going into the fall and winter. These are key to quality of life and include enabling housing infrastructure in rural communities, the impacts of the healthcare crisis on rural municipalities, and addressing our rural homelessness. So the Roma conference will be in Toronto from January 19th to 22nd, and the theme is rural roots, and roots is spelled ROUTES.
Cute.
That was
Did you come
all
up with that?
That was me.
Good one.
You're
Marketing
welcome.
might be your thing.
They had rural roots, ROOTS, and I'm like, no, this is too good an opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not very creative, but sometimes my noodle works. EORN, the EORN board met in Pembroke on September 26th and 27th. We're redefining the word network to include any projects that could utilize the EORN model of regional solutions. This includes the Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus Housing Plan and now may include a regional approach to agriculture needs such as abattoirs and inspectors. Keenan Stone and Angela Field were delegates speaking to the needs in agriculture. The board is going to discuss how to move forward after a follow-up meeting with our staff, which I believe is taking place tomorrow, and I can't attend. I said our new strategic plan will be rolled out in the next month, and then I wrote this so long ago, it came out. So, it's so fun. That's me as chair.
Do you have copies of that? Or is it, it's on electronic, I
It
guess?
is online, but
Yeah,
I
it's
can give you, I can make you a copy.
That's fine, I can find it.
Do you want a signed copy?
Yeah, I do.
Do you
Really want to
autograph?
verify, yeah.
You got it.
Yeah, and a frame too?
Such a celebrity. Yes, you could have it. Absolutely, you could have it framed. OEMC, the Ontario East Municipal Conference took place in Ottawa from September 10th to 13th. I attended a lot of sessions and I've given a lot of information. But I'll just give you the highlights here. One of them was navigating the workforce transition to electric vehicles in our Eastern Ontario automotive sector. So the future of Canadian automotive labor force, their FOCAL, they've done their economic forecast. They're still thinking that we're going all electric by 2040, which quite frankly made most of the people in the room laugh their asses off. I had many questions for the presenter, including training mechanics, the fact that the batteries are not recyclable and recoverable, and the concern of weather in our region, and basically the entire room agreed. So those are, I mean, they're obvious issues considering our climate. I went to strategies for vibrant recovery and planning for the unpredictable. Climate ready strategies. I actually could have given this seminar after the 27, 2018 and 19 years. Overall, it was very interesting. However, I noted that every emergency is different and difficult to predict. But we did also discuss the strengthening of our summer storms, and that brought up a lot of interesting in Eastern Ontario, how many of these debilitating storms we had this summer and last
Yeah,
summer.
let's look at Florida,
Yes, yeah,
Milton,
but
worse.
it brought up a lot of discussion. It was very interesting. I went to activating public spaces that foster business development. It was good. It was about the city of Belleville, and they're using pop-up projects, and they've extended their patio areas as well. We kind of already did that during COVID, but I like the idea of a group of modular pop-up businesses that could be placed in any of our parks or through forming a partnership with a private landowner.
Or use of our municipal facilities as well?
Yeah, like I think they've utilized everything. It's actually gone all across Quinte now. So interesting, but they're definitely utilizing their waterfront.
Yeah. It's nice.
So,
That's what people
yeah.
like.
It was good. It was a bit more city centric than rural.
I think of the Petawawa Container Market.
Yes.
I've not been, is that along the water? Do you know?
No,
Okay, so something like that.
but
would
it's
be
very cool.
Yeah,
But again, Petawawa is almost more of a city, like
yeah,
it's small urban, right? So Belleville had a lot to pull on too, with Prince Edward County being right
Yeah,
next
yeah.
door. Yeah, it was very interesting. It was just, you
well,
know.
certainly doing summer, there's lots
Yeah.
of different options.
Oh, yeah, they're only doing seasonal. Sorry, I have that in here. Seasonal. Okay, so I went to building a foundation for prosperity and resiliency in rural communities, and it was all about community and economic development. And I think I mentioned to you guys a couple of weeks ago on a break. So, they're talking about communication, education, empowerment for staff and volunteers. And I used the example of the mural project and then other beautification projects growing from it, the painted doors, the barn quilts. And so my note to the elected in the room was that sometimes it's beneficial for council to get out of the way of eager volunteers, and that was not met with applause. There are many councils that want to be hands-on in every single thing, and what some of my hallway conversations proved out was that volunteers just sometimes don't like that.
And community boards who don't want to accept new volunteers and their ideas.
Okay, so that's a problem as well.
Yes.
But I don't think that, you know, our beautiful muralists would be very pleased if council sat at this table and said, all the murals are going to be blue and white, and they all have to have the Toronto Maple Leaf
Mm.
logo on, like,
Or no murals,
or no, or
right?
there is a community.
I bet.
So listening to some of the Q and A after the presenters presented, because what the presenters were saying was basically, council, get out of their way, without saying, elected, get out of the way. So it was very interesting, but there were some elected that were not very pleased with me. So. Yeah.
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah,
What's that?
I'm with you on that one.
yeah.
Volunteers are so important. They're much more important sometimes than electeds.
But
Fabric of our community.
I could never, I don't believe any of us, this table could have come up with some of the different doors that have been painted. They're all different, they're all amazing.
That whole project is morphed into something so much greater.
I know, and I use the barn quilt.
Yeah.
My road looks like Prince Edward County, it's like a barn quilt extravaganza, driving 512.
Yeah.
Like,
And this is
Why-
supported by the museum, just one point.
Oh, yeah.
out there.
sorry, I pointed to you when I said,
No, museum
But
though
the-
is the original
yeah,
body behind it, right?
but there again, does council then get involved and we say, well, no, you can't put up those paintings all over the township?
No,
Like, I don't think that's why we were elected. We were elected to make policy and leave this place nicer than we found it.
Yeah.
So
future
anyway,
generations.
I just thought that was a very, I expected applause and it was crickets.
You didn't invite us clearly
I
to the
know,
table.
like-
We would have supported you.
I was getting like glaring looks and I had one mayor say, that's not at all how I run my township, and turned on his heels and walked away from me. And I did have other hallway conversations where they're like, yeah, I really like that, but you know, my council really wants to be involved. I get wanting to be involved. I want to see everything. And I was so excited when, you know, they were brought to us to show us, but we shouldn't be part of the process. That's not our role. Anyway, just, I thought that was sort of a funny story. We did have a municipal law update, but I won't bore you because, Dave Mundy actually did the presentation at OEMC. Yeah, he's such a nice guy, but Tony Fleming's coming next week, so. I also went to, the power of regional voice, positioning your community as a hub city. And it was good, again, a bit more city centric, it's right in the name. But I did come away with the feeling that since Montshire Valley and North Algona Wilberforce are so entwined, we need to work more closely to ensure that we're cross-marketing each other's assets and ensure that Eganville is our hub city, for lack of a better term. But it was interesting. County City Liaison. So the County of Renfrew and the City of Pembroke meet bi-monthly. I'm the chair of this particular committee to discuss both projects that both governments share in. So on October 7th, we actually had a special meeting of this committee to discuss the details surrounding the opening of the Warming Center in Pembroke for the 24-25 year. We're a bit under the gun now. The Warming Center committee has now been organized. I'll have more information soon. We're thinking logistics of how it worked in the trailer last year with the, like, we still have the chairs, we can re-rent the trailer, but there are some better ideas out there. So we're just kind of sorting those out with landlords, so more to come. But rest assured, we will have another warming center 4 nights over the winter season. And our youth center summit. On October 11th, we held our first youth summit geared towards 8 to 14-year-olds. Although we had 12 registered due to illness and other outside factors, we ended up with 5. The program that Sarah and Annette organized was nothing short of amazing. The kids were completely engaged and had lots of ideas that would be cost-effective and fun, including a dog show. Right?
You signed me up for that.
Why wouldn't we do that?
With rescues in need.
You could have a pet adoption market.
Mhm. Whiskers and
Anyway,
alley cats. too.
But with the amount of dogs on my Facebook feed,
I'm
even
sorry.
outside of you,
I'm sorry.
Tracy's only like 90% of them. No, but I'm just saying, we have a lot of dogs here. So,
There's a lot of dogs looking for homes and just to throw in, I'm collecting for the kill shelter in Quebec in this community. Oh my God. I'm gonna
And you
need
just-
2 vehicles.
you just reminded me, we need to do a collection for the SPCA for Halloween,
Oh, yes.
right? Okay. Okay, Sarah, so Sarah put them through. You wouldn't have, you gotta read the agenda. She would have a sit down and they talk, and then she had a hands-on project, team building, communication,
How
what
old
have
were these
you.
kids? Sorry, just to clarify.
8 to 14.
8 to 14. Was there
So-
a particular,
So we had 8 to 12-year-olds.
okay, was there more 8-year-olds, 12-year-olds? I'm just curious what the makeup of the group was. Do you
We
have any
had-
idea?
We had 8, 9, 10, 12, 12.
Okay,
So that's right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was fascinating to me to watch these kids. Fascinating. But Sarah put them through a budget deliberation. She gave them $40,000 to spend, and she showed them her budget for community development, CIP, all of it, right? And those kids took her budget. Oh, where are their logos?
Sarah has it all.
Okay, so they did this budget. They decided the newsletter was very important. They all look at the newsletter. Some of them keep it on their fridge. They were trying to decide fireworks versus drones, but their budget was amazing. They actually came in under budget. She also put them through a logo rebrand. And these kids did a stellar job, and I want them hanging
I
here.
bet you they use Canva, right? Because they're all adept at this platform.
What's that?
Canva, it's
They
correct.
grew them.
Did they? Oh, okay.
They freehanded them.
Yeah, put them up on the wall for us.
Now I know, right? They're amazing. Wait till you see them.
Hmm.
So anyway, I cannot express to you how impressed I was, and I've said this a million times. I said youth summit, and what our staff did, I can't thank them enough. It was really amazing. So I talked about the drones earlier. So I just want you guys to know, I'm a bit choked up because I'm so proud. So the AMO board stood up a healthy democracy initiative, which includes engaging young people in discussions about the future of our municipalities and how we'll make them more inclusive and safer for staff and elected. And I don't know if you realize what's going on across the province and probably across Canada and probably across the world. But people are stepping down. They're stepping down from their elected positions. They're leaving their jobs because the world has gotten mean. And it's not only representatives of the public, it's actually council member on council member, it's staff on staff.
Hmm.
It's council member on staff, staff on council member. It's across the board. And we had a presentation about it at Roma, and it's really disheartening to hear the disrespect from fully grown adults that's going on. I can disagree with somebody all day long, but some of the behaviors is disgusting. Anyway, so we are the very first in Ontario to hold a youth summit of this kind. So AMO intern Henry Command attended as part of the Healthy Democracy Project. Henry was very impressed with the day's events and believes that our model can be rolled out across the province. So I cannot thank you and Sarah enough. Heroes don't always wear capes. I also want to send a special thank you to Jenna Cision. She was our guest speaker, and Jenna outlined what it means and what it takes to be a leader in a community. And she was brilliant, and the kids hung on to every word she said.
Nice.
So absolutely, we will be doing this again next year. One of the things that I forgot to put in my report, but I'll give a verbal. I asked these kids 2 things. If we did the dog show, would they be willing to volunteer? And they were, all 5 of them. And I also asked if they would like to be a youth council. So unfortunately, they all go to EDPS. So I would love it if we could get a couple of members from St. James as well. And have a youth council that maybe reports to council, on a quarterly basis, when they can, about things that they would like to see in our community, or, you know, things that need to be, like the ball fields need a good mulch, things like that. So I'm not sure how to attain this right now, but they were all in.
I'd like to add to an idea, because my last Rotary meeting, we had the area director in there, and my son Zachary went, and he wants to get involved in Rotary. And she was talking about all of the opportunities for youth and how they're desperately looking for youth membership. They have, scholarships, various scholarships, ability for exchange, student exchange, more so, I would say like early high school, even like maybe 12, maybe not this particular group, but
A little bit
could be
older.
an opportunity to collaborate with Rotary on this as well.
Absolutely,
Because they want to step up and get more youth involved, as I said, so,
that'd be amazing.
yeah, I'm happy to take it to one of
To
the
Rotary,
meetings.
if you don't
Yeah,
mind,
yeah.
I would love that, thanks.
Yeah.
I have a lot on my plate, but I really believe in this, and I believe in it even more now than I did when I said that I'd like to have a youth summit. I knew going to the schools that some of the kids were engaged, they loved it, but some weren't.
Mhm.
And so this gave the opportunity, if you wanted to be involved, you could be registered, and if you didn't, then you didn't have to sit and listen to boring elected people and staff but some of the, I don't wanna call them games.
Activities.
Some of the activities that Sarah and Annette brought to the table were incredible. Like building a Lego elephant, one kid had the picture and had to tell the other kids how to build it. It was, so how do you communicate? Take the gray Lego and put it flat, then take the black Lego and put it the other way, like it was so interesting. And they had to build a skyscraper with spaghetti and marshmallows, and it was who was gonna get the tallest one, but they had to work together to make sure the infrastructure was good. So it was about,
Was that Annette's contribution there?
I don't know,
think
I don't know what Annette did and
skyscraper.
what Sarah did, but it was, look,
I've never heard of that one.
I can't, but the kids loved it because they were learning and they were communicating, but they didn't know it. Right? So it was really, really, really interesting. I just loved it. So I honestly, I went home and I was vibrating. I was so excited about it because I think even though there were only 5 kids, they were the most engaged 5 kids we could have hoped for. And I hope that they take it back to their friends and say, oh my gosh, that was so amazing. Anyway, just to wrap up events, on September 15th, it was my honor to bring greetings at the opening ceremony of Legion Week. I said the banners will be up soon. They're up today. On September 26th, Councillor Epps and I attended Renfrew County Day. On September 28th, Councillor Buckwald, Councillor Epps and I attended a private home to welcome the new Austrian ambassador. It was a lovely afternoon. Huge thanks to Joe and Frida Hernschel for hosting us. And we learned a lot about Austrian municipal politics. It is very different.
Yes,
In Austria, you're tied to a party.
yeah.
Which
You
is,
have your own party.
yeah, it's so
You create
different.
your own party.
Yeah,
Like you would a political party.
It was so very Prussian.
it was Prussian. All right, and that concludes my
I
report.
think
Thanks,
he
guys.
liked our way.
Good report.
Well, did anybody have any other questions? I know we sort of bounced back and forth, but a lot of good stuff is going on. But
The youth summit is the perfect contretemps to the bad news about homelessness and drug addiction and
Agreed.
drug harm. It's the perfect weapon to fight it with.
It is, and we are saying, like, our medical officer of health is saying we have to get youth earlier than traditional. We have to get them earlier for healthy habits in life. We have to get them, earlier for careers. We have to get them earlier all around. Where it used to be, you were coming out of grade 13. Are you going to university? Yeah. What are you taking?
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know,
Bachelor of
figure it
Arts.
out.
Yeah, I'm going to university. When I get
Work my way
there, I'll
up.
figure it out. That's right. Whereas now, these kids are under so much pressure, I think, to decide early. But I think we also do want them to have somewhat of an idea, right? But in any case, yes, it is it's the antithesis of all the sad news, but I think the MESA initiative is working. It really is. And RCV TAC is working and community paramedicine is working. Wellness checks are working. Is it a fix for all that ails us with primary care physicians? No, it isn't. However, I see the new model knowing that these docs just won't take 4,000 patients. I think the model is exactly what you said, John. I know that they're not called family health teams, whatever they're called now, but that's the model in bigger centers. So how do we utilize other healthcare providers in our small areas? So, and I think that nurse practitioners and RCV TAC are, at least they're helping. All right, if nothing else, we're all good. Okay, so our next meeting is November, oh, that feels a long way away. November 5th, yes. All right, we have no media here, so I have.
And we have Enbridge before the next meeting as well.
Yes.
Yes,
Enbridge is coming.
So we'll be
the
delayed.
next one or the next one?
November 5th, I thought
Yeah,
Daryl said.
November 5th.
We'll be starting that at 1:30 over there and then coming
Yeah.
back here after.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
we'll
so it'll be a
late.
delayed start, just so
Yeah.
everyone knows.
Good point. So I have a resolution dated this 15th day of October 2024 that committee proceed in a closed session in accordance with Municipal Act, Section 239.2, to deal with the matters as indicated below. Personnel matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal employees, a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality, a position plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to negotiations. May I have a mover, please? Moved by Merv, all in favor? And we are in closed. Yeah.
Again,
All right, I have a resolution dated this 15th day of October 2024. The council moves out of closed session at 3:45 PM. To rise and report, the council met to receive information and give staff direction regarding the nomination for
wardens and Ontario Volunteer,
and June Caldwell. No,
which is under the Ontario Volunteer, it's
Okay.
a different section.
oh, it's just, oh, I thought they were two completely different ones.
Yeah, but they're in the same letter,
Okay.
but yeah.
Yeah, all right. So the warden of the Ontario Service Wards, the museum sublease property adjacent to Lake Clear Road, and approved minutes from September 3rd, 2024. May I have a mover, please? John, all in favor? And that is carried. And now I would ask for a adjournment, please. Merv, all in favor? We are adjourned. Thank you, Council Committee.